G'day folks, this is Shane. Today I'll be checking out how the Red Stripe Peavey Bandit, my beloved Peavey Bandit, sounds against one of their new versions of the same amplifier. Now there's a few settings on both of the amps that vary. We'll get into that in the video, but I'm going to try and make this as fair as possible. We're going to test two voicings on both of the amplifiers. Now the Peavey Bandit, the new one, the Grey Stripe one, actually has 3 voicings on the clean, but we'll try the better 2 on that amplifier. And then we'll also go over to the Red Stripe Bandit and compare those as well. And then we'll crank it up to gig volume and see how they compare on my favorite lead setting on the amplifier, the way I dial it in if I'm taking the amp out live. Now, just to make this test completely fair, I put the stock speaker back into the Red Stripe Peavey Bandit. It's the original Peavey speaker, and obviously the brand new one that I've got also has the stock Blue Marvel speaker in there as well. So it's a pretty fair comparison. I might see how putting a Texas Heat speaker in the new amp actually sounds as well, and if I do that, I'll share a video with you guys as well. Now the cool thing is I've also got this, a sound pressure level meter as well, just to make sure we're nice and loud when we get to the lead channel stuff as well. This turns itself off every now and then, but I'm going to go over and turn it off and then back on, make sure that at least it'll be on video for hopefully most of the video. Anyway, so we'll see how we go. I've got another camera set up for this thing right here. I'm also going to post some polls up in the cards as well. So you can vote on which one you like best on the clean channel, which one you like best on the drive channel, and which one you like best overall. And if you can't hear a difference, that will probably be an option as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. There's no right or wrong. It's all subjective stuff. I know a lot of people will like one over the other, or they might actually own one over the other. But I like to do this, and then right at the end of the video, I'll give you my suggestions and thoughts about what I'm hearing in the room. Let's get into it. All right, let's get into it. We're going to start with some clean tones, and then we'll also try one of the overdrive channels on the amp as well. And I also have a sound pressure level meter set up as well. Hopefully it stays on for the entirety of the video. If not, I apologize. So let's give this a shot. We're going to start on the Grey Stripe Bandit, which is the new one. I don't know if that's the official title of the amp, but that's what I'm going to call it. So it's the Grey Stripe versus the Red Stripe. I've got the exact same settings on both of the amplifiers, with the exception of one thing. The Red Stripe Peavey Bandit has a presence control that I've left at 12 o'clock for now. We may actually turn it all the way down as well, but everything is pretty much exactly the same. We're on the warm channel of the Grey Stripe, and then we'll head over to the modern sound, or the modern setting of the clean channel, and we'll see how they compare, and then we'll try the others as well. So here we go, this is neck pickup. Red Stripe. Now to my ear, with both of the same settings, it feels like the Grey Stripe Bandit has a little bit more low end. It's more of just a more in your face kind of clean tone. So let's go over now to the classic channel on the Grey Stripe and the vintage channel on the Red Stripe. So here we go, same thing. Back to the Grey Stripe. Alright, this is with the classic clean channel on 10, and I've turned down the power attenuator on both amps all the way. So we're down to 25% on the Grey Stripe, which is what I'm going to start with, and I've turned the T-Dynamics control on the Red Stripe all the way down. So we're going to see if these compare audibly. I'm not exactly sure how much of a percentage we're going to get out of the Red Stripe with this exact same settings, but we can tweak it along the way. So here we go. Over to the Red Stripe. Now it sounds like the Red Stripe Bandit's getting way more compressed. I have a feeling this T-Dynamics kind of goes down to about 10%. So I'm just going to turn it up a little bit, give the amp a little bit more headroom so they compare a little bit better. Here we go. And back to the Grey Stripe Bandit. And back to the Red Stripe. Cool, let me know in the comments which one you like best so far and why. I'll also post a poll up in the cards. Alright, I got the amplifiers now set up in a way which I would use it if I was to take them out and play them live on the dirty channel. The power attenuator slash master, overall master volume, T-Dynamics is all the way back up on both of the amplifiers. And as you can see, I've got the gain at about 1 o'clock and the post gain slash master volume of that channel at 1 o'clock as well. So this is gig volume. I've got the bass cranked, and I think on this particular channel, turn the bass all the way up with the stock speaker at least, and you're going to get a pretty good sound. So we'll start with the Grey Stripe Bandit, and then we'll go over to the Red Stripe one. So let's give this a shot. This is neck pickup. Over to the Red Stripe Peavey Bandit. Now, I gotta say, with exactly the same settings, the Red Stripe Bandit's eating it alive volume-wise, or at least that's how it feels. So I haven't checked, I can't see the volume meter, but I'm going to turn the post gain up on the Grey Stripe a little bit more, just to try to make it as fair as possible. And I guess we'll find out in editing whether or not they were the same or not volume-wise. Sounds probably a little closer. Alright, so it still feels like the Red Stripe Bandit has something a little bit more on the volume. I don't know what it is, it feels like it's throwing out more sound. And that's interesting, I gotta say, because like I said, I've got both of the power attenuators back up on this exact same volume. So it almost feels like the Red Stripe has a little more gain as well. I'll just crank this up one last time. Let's go to bridge pickup. And lastly, back to the Red Stripe. I haven't touched the settings. Woo! Thanks for watching, guys. My name's Shane. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So don't forget to also vote up in the cards as well. I really appreciate that, and I'll cover that on a future podcast. So what do I think about both of these amps? Both of them are extremely loud, even with the stock speakers, and they would do gigs no problems. If you're looking for a clean channel amplifier, both would do the job fine. I kind of think there's a certain niceness to the Red Stripe Bandit that I was hearing in the room, especially on some of the top end frequencies, but there's ways of dialing that out a little bit further, whether you're just using your guitar tone control, which I don't use a lot. So for me, I kind of find the functionality and tones of the Red Stripe Bandit a little bit more pleasing to my ear. But this is the thing, it's all subjective stuff. There's no right or wrong. What I might like isn't what you probably like, or vice versa, and all that kind of stuff. So there's no right or wrong, but for the sound that I like, I still think the Red Stripe Bandit has a sort of smoothness to it that I really dig. Now, in terms of the T dynamics and how you get that tube saturated kind of sound by cranking up the clean channel and then also turning down the power section of the amplifier. Now, I gotta say the Red Stripe Bandit just has more flexibility. Going from 10% to 100% is pretty cool. Now, in the video, I said I didn't know if it felt like 10% or not, but listening back to it in editing, so I reshot this particular section, it's pretty clear that the volume drop was way below the 25% that I was hearing from the Grey Stripe Bandit. So you get more flexibility out of it that way. It did get a little mushy on the Red Stripe Bandit, having it all the way down, but the cool thing is get it up to about 2 or 3 on the equivalent, so around 9 o'clock, somewhere like that, and it's very, very comparable to the Grey Stripe Bandit. The sound that you're kind of hearing is all subjective on this particular part. You might like sort of that more modern kind of sound of the Grey Stripe. I still prefer the Red Stripe. And listening back in editing, no doubt about it at all in my mind. Now, in terms of the drive tones at my preferred settings, it was pretty close, but I still got to give the nod to the Red Stripe Bandit. And I don't have any vested interest in saying that. I just prefer it for my particular sound. But if you're using either of these amps with pedals, they're both going to be fine. I've used the Grey Stripe one out live with pedals and it rocks. So there's nothing wrong with using it as a clean platform amplifier for using your favorite pedals. Both are going to be extremely good. But just as a straight up amplifier comparison, I'm still going to give the nod to slightly the Red Stripe one, just because it was smoother. It sounded slightly louder and fuller as well on that sort of classic gain channel, vintage drive channel. I just preferred that. There was something about it, felt like it was projecting more sound in the room. These are things that are hard to capture on a YouTube video. You've just sort of got to hear it for yourself. But if you didn't have two amplifiers sitting next to each other to compare, would I be able to pull a usable sound out of the Grey Stripe one? Absolutely. I think it wouldn't be a hard job to dial that in at, at a gig environment or a jam night setting where I don't have any pedals, I just want to plug in and get a sound. And you'll definitely get a loud enough sound thanks to the boost circuit in there. That's the advantage over the Red Stripe one. And that's also something you can turn on and off. So I don't dislike the Grey Stripe Bandit. I just don't think it's as strong overall tonally as the Red Stripe one. And that said, it's all subjective. So if you already own a Grey Stripe one, there ain't nothing wrong with it, as they would say. So yeah, it's a good amplifier, but I gotta give the sort of the nod still to the Red Stripe Peavey Bandit, which is probably why they're still so popular. I've had 3 of them over the years, and they're great amps. So yeah, let me know your thoughts, vote in the cards, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, I don't know what I'll do with the new Bandit. I bought it just for this video and just to do a review on it, because I've had hundreds of people ask me, what do I think of it? Can I do a shootout? All that kind of stuff. So here it is. If you enjoyed it or if it was helpful, please give it the thumbs up. And I know my opinions probably aren't what everyone wants to hear either, but I've been using them for years, so you can take it at face value, whatever. So thanks again for watching. Thanks again for listening. My name's Shane. I will catch you on the next video, and stay tuned. I might do a speaker replacement on the new Peavey Bandit as well, so stay tuned for that. Thanks guys, catch you soon.